Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to give you my first impressions on the 5.1 X-Men update. It's a lot to go through. We've got new characters, we've got new uniforms, and then there's a bunch of extra stuff that's kind of possibly hidden that you don't actually know until you do a little bit of digging, you look around, and then it surprises you in a really good way. I'm not actually going to be covering things, for example, like the Shadowland First Clear rewards, because I just don't have enough time to go through everything and show all of those rewards step by step and detail by detail. So I will be doing that in another video. But for now, I'm going to be focusing on the characters, the uniforms, my impressions of those, and then other things that this update has brought that are really good, in addition to the stuff that I'm not going to talk about. Additionally, I want to start off by saying that in the shop, you can find tier 2 packs for the existing X-Men characters. It doesn't show up for me, but here on this page, it will show up, you know, Nightcrawler for 2,500 crystals. It'll also now show Rogue, Storm, Beast, and Cyclops, and it's a tier 2 version of the character for 2,500 crystals. Now, if you're a Mega Whale and you just want to get all the X-Men tier 2, be my guest and use your crystals that way, but for the vast majority of players, it's an awful deal because you can farm for all of those X-Men, and it's an even worse deal because of the double X-Men bios for those 4 characters specifically going on right now. So it's a bit interesting that Netmarble decided to do that. They're not only giving all the players a way to easily farm like 25 to 40 bios per day for the next 2 weeks for these 4 characters, Rogue, Storm, Beast, and Cyclops. In addition, Cyclops didn't get anything for this update, and neither did Rogue, so it's a bit weird, but then, on the other hand, you know, why would you spend crystals at all? So what exactly am I talking about? Well, if you go over to the top corner that I'm pointing at, right next to my X-Gene sub over here, you can see that there's a new one, and it's called the Biometric Acquisition Event. This was not in the patch notes, and it's just kind of slipped in here, and it's a wonderful event. It's amazing. And it basically doubles the acquisition rate of bios from the Rise of the X-Men Epic quest. So what that means is if you've already finished the X-Men Epic quest, or if you've gotten far enough that you've unlocked all 4 of the tracking missions, you will be able to collect double the bios. Now, it doesn't look like anything on the surface here, but when you click into it, you'll see that there's now a gold border around Cyclops' icon. And if you compare that to one of the other tracking missions, let's say Messy Friends, you will see that there is not a gold border around Phantom X. So now when you go in and you run one of the missions, generally you get 1 to 2 biometrics for the character. Let's do Storm actually, because I need her bios for her uniform. If I do 1 clear here, I will instead get 2 bios, and you can see there it's got the little icon at the top. If I do another clear, if I get 2, it'll possibly, we got 2 again, so that's 4. And so the minimum it seems that you're getting is 2, which is fantastic. And okay, I don't know why that popped up. And in addition to this, it combines with the shield support. So if you were thinking about, if you were on the fence about purchasing it, or if you were waiting a couple days to purchase it, now is the time to purchase this because it's on for 2 weeks. So it will line up perfectly, and it will basically end when this ends. And you'll be able to basically farm double that amount. So instead of getting 20 bios at least, I'll get 40 bios every single day for each of those X-Men. Even if you don't even need their bios for their uniforms, it's, you know, an extra 160 biometrics that you can guaranteed farm for your energy. And even when you don't have boost points, those quests only cost 4 energy, so they're extremely cheap for the cost. It's 2 when you have boost points, but it only goes up to 4 when you don't have boost points. So my other recommendation is to farm this when you don't have boost points, because it only costs 4 energy anyways. It's perfect. So yeah, stay away from those purchases in the store for crystals for the X-Men characters. Farm them for free. Even if you don't need their bios, farm free bios so you can get other characters to level 70. Speaking of other characters to level 70, I wasn't able to unlock any character's potential. I've got Jean Grey at 4%, I've got him at 12%, 12%, and 12%. I actually haven't unlocked, or sorry, I haven't ranked up Bishop and Jubilee yet, but I have heard some mixed reaction, so I think people just aren't sure how to gauge these characters. In the end, I honestly think that both Jubilee and Bishop are not going to have a huge impact on the meta, but I think they're both going to be fun characters that play well. They both have iframes, they both have flashy skills, they both have other abilities that protect them in some way, like a guard hit or invincibility or immunity. Neither of them have a heal, but they have pretty much everything else that can make them good to, very good, but I don't think they're going to be kind of in the excellent category. Bishop is obviously available from the Dimension Rift. As far as the the event quest goes for the event shop, you do need to keep playing this every day, and one of the quests is the world event, so it kind of sucks for the first day, but it's only 10 tokens, so don't worry about it too much. But in the event shop, you can pick up Bishop Bios to kind of jumpstart your acquisition if you don't want to open rifts and spend the energy that way. I wouldn't get the Storm Bios because, like I just explained, you can get 20 Storm Bios for free by just spending 40 energy. And then honestly, the Norn Stone Selector is great. My free-to-play account is going to love that shit. And then the hidden tickets are excellent too. And honestly, actually the energy is pretty bad this time around. It's only 20 energy for 10 tokens. But you could get that every day in addition to the 30. So you could farm an extra 50 energy per day, which is honestly not the worst thing in the world, but these event quests are always like that after an update. As far as the actual characters are concerned, a lot of people have expressed confusion over Jean Grey because her fire damage is gone. Yes, it is gone. But she still has it on her tier 3 skill, so it's not completely gone. But she doesn't deal mind damage. So for whatever reason, she doesn't deal mind damage. That's just kind of the way it is, despite the fact that Bonds of Destiny decreases mind resistance. So that may mean that it's best to combine Jean Grey with another character that does deal mind damage, like Scarlet Witch or Psylocke. And I'll talk about Psylocke later. But that's just kind of the way the character is made. Her new tier 2 passive is completely busted. She gets an all resistance and decreased damage, so she's going to be basically impossible to kill when she's fighting elemental characters. And it's interesting because Jean Grey herself has fewer elemental skills. So I think if you put a Jean Grey with a normal uniform against a regular Jean Grey with no uniform, this Jean Grey will get absolutely destroyed because this Jean Grey has resistances. And although this Jean Grey has penetration, penetration doesn't lower your resistances. It just penetrates through things that would otherwise reduce the damage to 0, like immunity or invincibility. And that's the really good thing about resistances. So for characters like Thanos, and he's a great example because if you look at his resistances, he has a base stat of 50% all resist to fire, cold, lightning, poison, and mind. And that's what makes him so hard to kill, especially for characters like Jean Grey. And so it's very interesting that they decided to double that 50 and give her 100% to all 5 of the resistances. So, Thor is going to be basically impossible to use against Jean Grey because he's going to do like baby damage. Even though he has penetration, he's going to have to lower her lightning resist via his 6th skill, which he'll probably never even see because she'll kill him before he gets there. But I'm kind of just making the point there that resistances might actually start to become more important for these types of situations, especially when they deliberately do something like give a character 50% resistance buff on top of a 30% damage reduction. So that's just insane flat out. As far as the skills go, they're a little bit more weird. We're gonna have to take our time in learning them. She gets an extra second of freeze, I believe. She gets a better heal this time around. But yeah, it's just a crazy buff from top to bottom. Even though this uniform is 1,500 crystals, I think this is pretty much a must-buy if you have Jean Grey built up. If you don't have Jean Grey built up, if she's 1-star or 2-star, you can save it and wait until she's 6-star. As far as the tier 3, I haven't seen any screenshots, but apparently she costs as much as Thanos. So that's 1,600 CCF. That's going to hurt. But she's probably going to be the best character in the game. If you go and check out the #1 Jean Grey, shout out to this Chinese guy who got lucky with her potential. We're rocking over 50,000 energy attack with over almost 80,000 HP because he's kind of bumping it up now after seeing how high it goes. So that's absolutely insane. Those stats are disgusting. The other characters, Beast, honestly, his uniform, I'm going to have to do more testing, but my initial impression is it's just not really enough. It kind of feels like Nebula's uniform, okay? That's a good comparison. It definitely makes the character usable as a standalone character, but still not good enough to where you would want to use him and have fun and be like, oh, I'm playing as Beast. You kind of feel like you're playing a discount version of Thing, and Thing's actually pretty good with all that fracture. So I'm a little bit disappointed with that. Storm, on the other hand, I do think she gets a lot of justice, quote unquote. She's still very fragile because she only has that one guard hit on her third skill, but now she has 3 iframes. She's got an iframe on 1, an iframe on 4, and an iframe on 5. They're not the same length, they're not the same duration, but you can use those in conjunction with the guard hit to evade most damage incoming. But if you do make mistakes, you may get one-shotted, so it might be a good idea to invest in like a defensive obelisk, like something with invincibility. But her skill animations are beautiful. Speaking of beautiful skill animations, holy shit, Iceman. Not really sure how I feel about him long term in terms of being like an OP character. He's got these weird combinations of skills. Like he has damage reduction on his tier 2 passive, which implies that he might be good for PvP, and he has certain, you know, skills that look like they would be nice in PvP, but then he just, you know, doesn't have any other PvP abilities that really make him, you know, he doesn't have fracture, he doesn't have iframe ignore, he doesn't have, like, it just doesn't really fit. So I'm not really sure what to think of Iceman. His rotation is a little bit harder to use than normal because he's got an 18-second cooldown on Frigid Giant for 9 seconds, even though it's a 6-second invincibility. But his skills do look beautiful. I'm not sure. I can't really, you know, I can't really guarantee that he's going to be really good for you. So I would hold off, unless you love Iceman. I would hold off on ranking him up for the time being, just until I get some more testing done. And then we come to the last uniform, Psylocke. I don't know why I haven't favorited this one just yet, but this is probably going to be the other standout uniform of the update, along with Jean Grey. This update is this uniform is absolutely bonkers for Psylocke. Her third skill, her new third skill, apparently does insane damage. I never tried it out because I was having too much fun doing 4 and canceling it into 5. She basically only has 2 skill changes, 4 and 3, but they're massive in terms of their animation, especially 4 if you turn the SFX on in the settings, and she does insane damage now. It's really wild, and again, I think if you have a tier 2 Psylocke, you owe it to her to get this uniform, because it's definitely going to put a lot of work in. Whether she's going to be usable for PvP, I don't know. She does get a pretty sizable HP bump. She gets a 20% bump on top. So she's already over 30,000. You could possibly build Psylocke for PvP, although with the new Jean Grey resistances, she's never going to kill that bitch. But for PvE, she was good, and now she's going to be very, very good, especially for someone like Ebony. She's going to shred like stage 60 and up. I incinerated him with mind damage. I melted his mind. Anyways, there's not really too much else to talk about from the update. We do have the very nice Age of Apocalypse World Boss Dimension Rifts, which gives additional Phoenix Feathers and Emcron Crystals. So definitely don't forget to play these, because you do get those rewards, and we need them now more than ever for X-Men characters. We have the new Shield Lab stuff, which gives additional crystals. And then other than that, and other than the Shadowland First Clear rewards that I haven't covered, that's pretty much all we have to enjoy for the new update. So it's really just going to be a race to the bottom for the nukes for Jean Grey, and once we start to see some tier 3 Jean Greys out in the wild, once she gets unbanned from Vibranium timeline battle, it's just going to be probably hell on earth, because I'm terrified of how much damage she's going to do and how hard she's going to be to kill for pretty much every other character. Possibly Captain Marvel is our saving grace. Let me know what you guys think of the update. Let me know what you think of the uniforms, the new characters, etc. Who do you think is going to be better, and who should I invest in first, Bishop or Jubilee? Hit me up in the comments down below. Also, the Bishop card is quite good. Not perfect, but it's quite good for free-to-play, so definitely farm that up and get that to a 4-star version. I know my free-to-play count's going to hit that up. Subscribe if you enjoy the content and you want to support me, and of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again later today. Take care.